Hey there, storytellers! Welcome back to my channel, and welcome, as promised, to my Dark Academia OWLCRATE unboxing. And as you can tell from the shirt, I'm just filming this week's video back to back from last week's video, keeping with my Dark Academia vibes, rolling right into it, keeping it all together this autumn. It's it was rainy, now it's kind of sunny. It's one of those funky fall days that keeps switching things up. But without any further ado, let's get into this. So, I don't feel like I need to do that little announcement quite as much. Well, let's just get into the sneaky peek, because I already told you what the theme is, and it's Dark Academia. So there is your little sneak peek to the box. Let's get into this right away. We have our spoiler card that has a wonderful illustration of this girl in like a Peter Pan sweater that's green with like this blue and green plaid skirt. There's a typewriter, there's moons on the wall behind her, there's like a moon outside, a globe, a candle, a book, a quill. She's staring down a skull. It is literally every little piece of Dark Academia aesthetic that you could think of, all in one illustration. But this has the handy dandy information for who created what and what it was inspired by. I'm thinking, because if you saw last week's video, I have a very large familiarity with Dark Academia novels. I think I'll probably be able to guess which one's which, but we shall see. Let's get into it. The first item here, you know what? Here's another little sneaky peek on what's on top. It reveals quite a bit. The first item in the box is this wooden stamp, and it has an illustration of an open book with some vines, and they point to a heart that's sort of above the open book, and it says "From the Library of." So it is an ex libris stamp. These are pretty popular on Etsy, both in sticker format and stamp format. I've seen them a lot. I really like the idea of this quite a bit. I have some qualms about the actual aesthetic of the stamp itself. Open book, love. Vines, love. The little heart just makes it seem a little too cutesy for me, and it takes away, honestly. And I might see if maybe I could file that part of the stamp down somehow so that it's not there. And personally, that's just me, I would prefer it say ex libris instead of "From the Library of," because I think the Latin adds that extra touch of Dark Academia. Latin, dead languages, Greek, all that kind of stuff is very Dark Academia vibes. So I like the intent, but I think the execution of "From the Library of" and the little heart kind of push it a little bit towards cottagecore. This would be very light academia, which I think is fair. Sort of a cottagecore light academia vibe. Like I said, I would prefer it didn't have the heart and that it said ex libris to give it that really powerful punch of Dark Academia. But I love the intention behind it, and I like that I could now at least stamp some of my books and write my name in all fancy and whatnot, and you know, make it feel like I'm curating my own library as I do. So this stamp is designed by Little Inklings Design, and like I said, it is an ex libris stamp is how it's billed on here, and I wish that's what it said, but otherwise I do really like this item. I like the inclusion of it. I think it's a perfectly bookish item. Useful, cute, definitely something. I like the intent. I have a little bit of qualms with the aesthetic, like I said, but otherwise, Little Inklings Design, love it, perfect. Next from the box, we have the pin inspired by this month's novel, and it is a typewriter, a black typewriter with a little piece of paper sticking up, and a Latin phrase, it's been a while since I've said anything in Latin, exsentia ultio, which roughly translates as "from knowledge, revenge," which I did know the title, I believe, of the book that is in this box, but I forgot it. But this is designed by Icy Designs, and as a writer, the typewriter is everything. As someone who took Latin, the Latin is everything. As somebody a fan of Dark Academia, the vibes together are everything. I like the pen. Nice and simple. Next, we have a beautiful tiny little box. It's black with gold like circle around it with some leaves at the end, and it says, "It is better to know one book intimately than 100 superficially." Let us see what is inside. We have something metal. It looks like the side profile of a Greek man, honestly, because he's just surrounded by vines and leaves and stuff. It reminds me of like Apollo almost. And it says that quote, "Again, it is better to know one book intimately than 100 superficially." And it's like a crescent moon shape on the other side of him, but the way there's like lines crisscrossing behind it, it kind of reminds me, like, it really does give me Apollo vibes, because it kind of reminds me of like an instrument. And there's this cord. Oh, it has a little tassel cord attached to it, which leads me to believe this is a bookmark. It's very beautiful. It's also very fragile. I thought like wood marks were delicate, but this it's all basically just an outline done in metal. I don't know how well you can see it now that it's not against a black background, but it's all very delicate, and I am terrified that I would break it. So beautiful, love it. Might be more inclined to sort of use it as an ornament than a bookmark, somewhere I could hang it and not damage it. We shall see. It's beautiful. I really like it. I just I'm terrified to use it. I don't recognize the quote from this bookmark, so that hazards me to guess that I haven't read the book. Let me see. Oh, okay. It is a metal bookmark, as I've said, inspired by The Secret History. So this must be a quote from The Secret History, and this was designed by Paperback Bones. Like I said, I love it. It is gorgeous, but it is so very delicate, and I probably will not use it as a bookmark because I'm afraid I'll break it. But do enjoy. Next, we have an item that I recognize as being inspired by If We Were Villains, because it says Delicar Classical Conservatory, which is the name of the conservatory that If We Were Villains is set at. It has a few other, it says Per Aspera ad Astera. Sorry, cut to me adding extra letters. Per Aspera ad Astra, which is roughly through difficulty to the stars in Latin, roughly. And on the back it says, "We were always surrounded by books and words and poetry, all the fierce passions of the world bound in leather and vellum." It's got an open book illustration and like vines underneath it on the back. And on the front it has sort of a school crest insignia. There's like a keyhole with stars in it, and then it's got a feather quill and some vine leaves or a rose, and then it's kind of got a castle turret thing going on behind it. But it's got this lovely little snap, and let's open it up and see what we've got here. We have some little sticky tabs in different shades of gray with stars on them, some of which are trying to escape, and then some other slightly bigger sticky notes that have quotes on them, like at the top and the bottom, and then a pen with the same Per Aspera ad Astra on there, another set of sticky notes, or just regular little notes that has a sword with vine leaves around it, the same saying on the bottom, and then some dotted lines. It's some kind of stationery kit. I'm really annoyed that these guys don't want to stick anymore. Okay, so having tried to take one of the stickies off so that the slightly stickier underside would, you know what I mean, trying to get them to restick, I can confirm they're really not that sticky, which is both good if you were to use these in a book, but annoying if you don't actually want them to fall out, because I feel next to no stickiness on there. Aesthetically, I love the little stars on there. It's very cute. Like I said, inspired by If We Were Villains. I know that already. Let's see who designed it. It is a reading kit, so it is, at least for the intention of you sort of jotting down quotes and notes and flagging your book pages, but like I said, it's not that sticky. I would be more likely to use these in a reading journal where I would feel comfortable gluing them down and writing on them rather than trying to flag pages of the book with them, because at least this darker color is not very sticky. The other ones do seem to be holding in a little bit better, so hopefully they're better for flagging. We'll see. And it was designed by Paperback Bones. So 2 items from Paperback Bones in here. They're not that sticky. I don't think that's on Paperback Bones though. I think that's the design and possibly just travel. You know, I don't know what kind of temperatures these went through, so it kind of could have melted the glue. It's definitely a little misshapen and worn, so I think the travel didn't do this one any favors, but I like the idea, and I like the simplistic black and white and gray design of it all. I think it works no matter what your aesthetic is. So I do like the intention, and I like the aesthetic design of it. The execution on the tiny sticky notes, not my favorite so far. The others, like I said, do seem to be holding up, and hopefully, actually, let's just test this pen right now. We'll see. I'm just gonna test it right here for you. Oh yeah, the pen works. You can't see it. Trying to make like a big line there. I don't know how well you can see it, but right there, the pen does work really well. So otherwise, I am enjoying the intention behind this. And the other ones, it's just the one set of the really dark gray stickies that don't seem to want to be stickies. But other than that, they do seem like they're quality paper. It feels like quality paper. It feels like the others seem to be holding up pretty well. So it's just the one guy being stubborn. But otherwise, I like the intention and I like the aesthetic, and the kit itself is pretty cute. The next item in the box is a book sleeve. I could tell just from the way it looked. And of course I'm right. It is inspired by Aglionby Academy. I don't know how to say that. It's got a raven on it with a crown. There's a forest in the background. And it says Arboris Loqui Latine. The trees speak Latin. And then on the back, there's this group of kids. There's 4 boys, I think, and a girl. I don't know anything about it, so I don't know this. I don't know this story other than clearly it said it's some kind of academy where trees speak Latin. Let's see. Where are you? Okay. It says, keep your books safe while you're out searching for sleeping Welsh kings with this Raven Boys inspired book sleeve designed by Dre Gomez at Saint Dre on Instagram, I'm assuming, or Twitter, one or the other. So this is a Raven Boys inspired. Raven Boys is written by Maggie Stiefvater, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. I didn't realize it was set at an academy, that it had dark academia vibes. I thought it was more of a fantasy. So that's kind of intriguing. It was one I was considering anyway, but the dark academia inclusion has me intrigued. So I always like a good book sleeve. I like the design of it. It's got this foresty vibe. The kids all have a very dark academia aesthetic to them. You know, they're in their button-ups with their ties and their sweater vests and pleated skirt and all that stuff. And the trees speak Latin, you know. It's just, I'm about it. Next, we have what this box reveals is an OWLCRATE collectible book tin from the Library of White London. It's inspired by the Shades of Magic series by Victoria Schwab. This says volume 3, so I'm gonna assume I missed a few along the way somewhere. And this says it is designed in collaboration with Forensics and Flowers. So we know what it's going to be. We know what it's inspired by, but let's take a look at it. I didn't include Darker Shade of Magic and the Shades of Magic series in my Dark Academia sort of list video because I actually couldn't remember whether or not it qualified as more of a fantasy or not. So I guess I missed the boat on including that, but I included 2 other Victoria Schwab ones, so we're fine. This is obviously meant to look like a book. It's white with silver and red detailing. We've got a castle on the front with the map of White London, I think. It's got stars and a moon. It says, The Someday King Magic Restored. It says the same on the side with some red footprints and a chess piece, it looks like. In the back, we have a castle with a chess piece design worked into it that has blood streaming down, which is very charming. crescent moon in the sky with stars, and it says "On vis hoc," which I don't remember what that translates to. On the side, it has more of the sort of map of London, which is a big aesthetic for the book itself. And then when you open it, inside, just silver book tin classic, and more of the maps of London, and it says, "And then at last the world breathed in," which is a quote from the novel, I'm assuming. It's a series I want to read. I'm definitely interested in it. I like the aesthetic of this. I don't love book tins as items included in subscription boxes, only because what do I put in there? I don't know what to put in there ever. I just feel like I have tons of stuff, and I don't know. I feel like, do you sit it so it sits like that on your shelf and looks like a fancy book? Do you set it so that you can like open it and use it? I don't know. It's high quality, nice and sturdy. I've clearly opened and closed it a few times and it hasn't gotten loose or anything. I think it's both fitted so that it's cut so that it fits, it slots in, but I think there might also be some slight magnetization right in the side here so that it stays in place really well when you close it. So it's quality. I love the aesthetic of it. Will I use it? I don't know. Probably not. I don't know what I'll do with it. Before we do, we of course have our pamphlet that has extra bonus fun things in it. It has the same illustration as our spoiler card. It contains interviews with our author and details about the sort of switch in cover, because OWLCRATE editions always have an exclusive cover. It gives you a fun Dark Academia quote match game to some classic Dark Academia novels. Interview with Dre Gomez, and then we have the August Photo Box Challenge, Owl Babble stuff, the Someday King. It's a bookish playlist inspired by White London. Other releases they're excited for this month, and that is that. And I didn't want to flip it and show you anything and spoil anything, so there's that. And then we have the theme for the next month's box, which is Haunted Hearts. And then it says every September box will include an item designed by Lichen and Limestone. I did not get this box. I know of some of the items that are, I know it's like one of the items is inspired by Crimson Peak, and there's a lot of those creepy vibes to it, and I know what the book is. I have it saved. I can't remember the title. So I skipped this box. I knew it was going to be their sort of October-y, Halloween-y box because they always do it in September. I decided I'm going to pause on them for a bit. We have A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee, who is a trans author. This is a Dark Academia novel, obviously. I just read the synopsis and this sounds so delightfully good. It follows our main character, Felicity Morrow, who is back at the Dalloway School, perched in the Catskill Mountains, a year after the death of her girlfriend. She took a year off of school to deal with that. But the school, Dalloway, is basically steeped in centuries of occult, haunted, magical, witchy drama. And there's this group called the Dalloway Five, who all died mysteriously, one after the other, right on Godwin grounds, which is the house that Felicity stays in, Godwin House, and those 5 girls were rumored to be witches. It's literally woven into the school's past. There's secret rooms and shadowy corners. Girls convene, and Felicity was drawn to the dark before her girlfriend died, and when she comes back to school, she swears it off. She's done. She's like, I can't. But it's hard, especially when a new student named Ellis Haley is literally drawing her back into it. Ellis is a prodigy novelist. At 17, she's described as a so-called method writer, which implies that she does some of the dark things she probably writes about, which sounds crazy. I'm into it. And she's described as eccentric and brilliant. Felicity cannot shake the pull that she feels towards her, so when Ellis asks Felicity to help write a novel about the Dalloway Five, Felicity can't say no, but as things start to take a turn for the worst and history starts to repeat itself, Felicity needs to examine the darkness in others and herself. This sounds witchy and Dark Academia-y all at once, like a mystery story. It sounds like it checks a lot of boxes that I enjoy. I am so thrilled that they included a novel by a trans author. I think that's awesome. I know this exclusive cover is way different. I think the flowers are like a more of a darker violet, and the back is more of like a navy black purple kind of thing. I don't remember exactly. I'm not going to bother to look it up. I won't lie. I know that this has, an exclusive stamp on the cover of the book. It is a planchette. It's got like a moon and some vines on it. It says Excentia Ultio. That same phrase from our pin. What else do we have? We have exclusive artwork on the inside of the dust jacket. What do we got? It says, I want to find a loose thread on the collar of her shirt and tug. I want to unravel her. Ooh, hello. And then we have somebody sitting in a chair. She's holding a book in front of a bookshelf. I'm going to assume it's the Ellis, who's the writer, and she's got the Knight of Swords card. Interesting. And then we have, it just says a lesson in vengeance down the middle. Magic can pull you in, pull you under. Every spell is a pomegranate seed on your tongue, binding you to the underworld. I love that quote. That sounds fantastic. And then we have another character who's blonde. She's in a skirt and her shirt, and she's got candles behind her at a desk and a bed, and it says 9 of Wands. So I'm guessing the dark-haired broody book holder is Ellis, and this is Felicity in the blonde and the skirt. I'm just guessing. Who knows? I'll be thrilled if I'm wrong, just because I like when I can't assume things about characters, but we'll see. So the outside aesthetic's actually lighter than the original, which is kind of interesting choice. I love the artwork and quotes on the inside. That gets me so hype. We have foiled edges, but they're silver, which is fun. And then, of course, as usual, it is a signed edition. Everything sounds dope. Of course, we have a letter from the author. Same artwork on one side, and the letter says, Dear friends, books are a sort of telepathy, aren't they? When I read a book, I get swept into someone else's life, a character and world and story that a stranger invented, but that at least for a little while becomes real for me. When I write too, I have an image in my mind of a place, an object, a person, a feeling, a narrative, and I am hoping that somehow the reader will share my mind. Over the course of a book, just for a while, reader and writer occupy the same space. I think that's the most magical experience in the world. A Lesson in Vengeance is about a reader and her relationship with a writer, and the way the boundaries between them get frayed. It's a story about grief and anger and trauma and female agency, about ghosts, both real and imagined, and of course, lesbians. I loved every minute writing this book. It was inspired by dark academia, but it was also an effort to center women and queer people within that canon. And as someone who just graduated with their PhD, I spent years studying what I loved and destroying myself to do so. I wanted with this book to excavate how academia can bring passion, but how it can also demand much more than we are able to give. I hope that you will love, I can't read this word, my mind for a little while. Victoria Lee. Okay, I can't read some of the writing. I love the intention that Victoria Lee has about bringing women and queers into the dark academia realm a little bit more, but also just telling stories about academia and writers and readers and passion and darkness that can lurk in anyone. I am very excited for this novel. I think my favorite item in this box, besides the book, of course, is probably the deliciously delicate bookmark that I will be forever hesitant to use, but I absolutely adore it. I love the entire theme. I liked this box. I love that book. I'm ready to read it. I think it's gonna be one of my next ones coming up. So that's that. I enjoyed this box. Like I said, I'm taking a break from OWLCRATE for a little bit, so you won't see these coming up for a while. If I ever go back to them, we'll see. If you enjoyed it, let me know by leaving a like down below. But what did you think of the items in the book included? I think they were all really great. I love dark academia, obviously. If you want to keep up with me and all of my bookish adventures, you can go ahead and click the subscribe button, and I highly recommend that you ring the little bell so that you don't miss a beat, because it will notify you anytime I post a video, which I do every Friday. Next week's video is going to be, I'm aiming for a review of a novel. I have one in mind, but I can't guarantee that I will get to it. So next week's video is probably going to be a review of some sort. I'm not sure which book it is for sure just yet. I know which one I'm hoping it will be. We'll see. So click the notification bell so that you get notified when that review does go live, if you want to find out, surprise, what the book is going to be. But for now, I'm going to go. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!